Hey guys, it's Paradise and welcome to another Monster Hunter Wilds video and our Weapon Workshop tutorial series. This is a series where we go over everything you want to know about the weapons, from their basic moves all the way to your main combos and recommendations. This includes how the weapons work and the theory behind them. We'll have you covered with a weapon workshop for each of the 14 weapons in the game. This time around, we're diving into what many see as the benchmark weapon. A jack of all trades with exceptional mobility, a good balance between offense and defense, as well as unmatched versatility in its options. So if you want a weapon that can pretty much do it all with a wealth of different playstyles at your fingertips, then let us introduce you to the Sword and Shield. The Sword and Shield is one of the most versatile weapons in Monster Hunter Wilds, offering a perfect balance between speed, mobility, and utility. It features a combination of rapid sword strikes, fluid combo chains, and defensive options with its shield. While on the surface, many see it as a beginner weapon, lacking fancy gauge mechanics or big explosive attacks like other options, you'll quickly find out that the Sword and Shield is nothing of the sort. It requires quick tactical decision making in order to get the most out of its toolset, it hits hard and fast with great mobility, and a ton of options at your fingertips throughout its many combo chains. What sets the Sword and Shield apart in Wilds is its expanded counterplay and movement options. With the right timing, you can perform potent perfect guards, leading into the brand new Power Clash mechanic, and its newfound mobility as well as the addition of focus mode makes outmaneuvering monsters easier than ever before. So if you want an agile weapon that's a bit more straightforward, with balanced offensive and defensive capabilities, the Sword and Shield is for you. While the SNS doesn't have the highest blocking power, it excels at quickly repositioning and dealing out powerful counterattacks. This allows skilled hunters to keep up the offense while still staying safe. The weapon's basic flow revolves around maintaining fast, fluid strikes while looking for opportunities to land its more powerful finishers. Your standard attack strings build up into heavy-hitting finishers like the Spinning Reaper or the Charged Chop, both of which deal significant damage. One of the core mechanics of the Sword and Shield, though, is the fluidity of its entire moveset, making it one of the most responsive weapons in the game. The new blocking mechanics in Wilds have made your shield a much more reliable option that will have you wanting to make the most of it in every hunt. The shield isn't just for blocking as well, it can be used offensively to bash monsters, potentially causing a knockout if you aim for their head. Another defining feature of the Sword and Shield is its unique ability to use items while it's unsheathed. This means you can drink potions, sharpen your weapon, and even throw down traps without missing a beat. This, paired with the new Power Clash system and seamless terrain interaction in Wilds, makes the Sword and Shield one of the most adaptable weapons. So mastering the Sword and Shield is all about staying aggressive while knowing when to evade or counter. It's a weapon that thrives in close quarters, rewarding precision, quick reflexes, and a smart use of your tools. If you want to get hunting straight away, here is a quick rundown of what you're going to want to be doing on the Sword and Shield, as well as some of its combos to get you started. To start the fight, you'll want to hold the left stick forward and press triangle to unsheath into your advancing slash, which also closes the gap. From here you can start using both your chop and lateral slash combos, depending on the situation. If you need to reposition, you can always press triangle and hold a direction on the left stick, which will perform your basic chop combo while at the same time moving in the direction of your choice, keeping you mobile. This allows you to be quick on your feet and lets you adapt to the monster's movements. If you have a bigger opening though, pressing circle 3 times will do your lateral slash combo a more damaging option, but it does keep you stuck in place. The best part is both of these can be switched between freely. So if you suddenly need to reposition slightly, you can immediately start your chop combo instead and then switch back to your lateral slash once you're in position to do so. Pressing triangle and circle before the final move of either of these combos though will have you do a Roundslash. This is a quick, damaging move that is a good bridge between your combos. It lets you turn to face any direction held on your left stick, so you want to skirmish with the monster using these 3 options, throwing in those Roundslashes where you can to keep up your damage. but pressing triangle and circle after the final move of either of your basic combo strings will instead give you the Spinning Reaper. This is your go-to burst damage move, with its only drawback being it has a decent amount of end lag after you use it. This can, however, be cancelled into a charged chop by holding triangle and circle, letting you briefly charge up your sword before plunging it into the monster. Using these two abilities in tandem is a great idea when you have those openings, but they do leave you slightly open to retaliation, so you should only use these when you have time to do so, or if the monster isn't focusing you. From here, you have several useful moves that you can do when the situation arises. Holding R2 allows you to block incoming attacks, but you generally will want to evade instead, as you will still take some damage. If you time it right before getting hit though, you'll instead do a perfect guard, letting you follow up with a powerful counter slash. Holding down your guard and pressing square will also let you use consumable items without sheathing your weapon, letting you get back to fighting faster than most other weapons. As said before, you can even use your shield to KO monsters by holding forwards on the left stick and pressing circle. Continuing to press circle will then cycle you through your shield bash combo, with each of the hits doing KO damage if you aim at the monster's head, and you generally want to go for at least one KO per hunt this way. But this combo deals significantly less DPS compared to your lateral slash, meaning you shouldn't spam it too often. Also take note that pressing L2 will enter you in focus mode, which is especially helpful for aiming your flurry of attacks and using your focus strike by pressing R1, that not only gives you access to your powerful focus strike ability, but can also be used on forming wounds or scars to deal massive damage. This is just a starting point to get you going now, but if you really want to master the sword and shield, you're going to want a more in-depth breakdown of each of its moves, so let's get into the moves. First up, we have your basic chop combo. This is performed by pressing triangle up to 4 times in a row, unleashing a quick flurry of slashes. This is particularly useful for building elemental or status damage thanks to its speed. You can chain this combo into and out of your other basic moves as well, making it versatile and a consistent option in your toolkit. While holding a direction while performing this combo, it lets you step freely and is a powerful repositioning tool should you need it. The next is your lateral slash combo, which is executed by pressing circle up to 3 times. This combo consists of 3 heavier sweeping slashes and is one of our better options for raw damage. After that, we have the shield attack or hard basher combo, as it's more commonly known. To perform this, you press circle while pushing the left stick forwards, and then can follow up with 2 additional circles. This is a 3-move sequence, and unlike your other attacks, it has you attack with your shield instead of your sword. This actually gives it some special properties, with the main one being it deals blunt damage, which if aimed at the head of a monster will start to build up a knockout. This is a fantastic tool for toppling monsters, giving you an opening to attack. After that, you have your Roundslash, a classic spinning attack that can be performed by tapping triangle and circle after one of your attacks. This does moderate damage and is amazing for switching between the 3 previous combos. Holding a direction while using a Roundslash also causes you to face that direction, and from there you can go immediately into a new combo string with no downtime. Then we have your powerful combo finishers. These are moves that deal large amounts of burst damage and can be used at the end of one of your combo strings. The first is the powerful Spinning Reaper, an upgraded version of your Roundslash that can be performed by tapping triangle and circle at the same time. This does significant damage at the cost of coming with high end lag. This can be cancelled, however, with several options that we'll be covering soon. You have the Charged Chop, which you can do by pressing and holding triangle and circle. This attack has a small wind-up period before jumping up and unleashing a multi-hit carving strike. There are 2 options of this move available to you. The first is the base version, which occurs if you perform the move before the end of a combo string. Then you have the empowered version, which happens when you use a charged chop after a combo or Spinning Reaper, and you can tell that it's empowered by the flames that run up the blade during the startup. Not only is this useful for hitting some harder to reach areas of the monster, but you also can't be staggered out of this move, making it a reliable option even when the fight gets chaotic. Moving on, we have your more utility-oriented moves. You first have your Advancing Slash. This is done by pressing triangle and circle, or by pressing the left stick and triangle while your weapon is sheathed. This is a forward-moving slash that allows you to aggressively close the gap between you and the monster, and is a great combo starter, seamlessly flowing into your bread and butter combos. One that you'll hopefully not have to use very often but is still good to know is the Recovering Slash. By pressing triangle or circle after you're knocked to the ground, it will let you stand back up with a single swipe, dealing moderate damage and then allowing you to resume into your attacks. On the more defensive side, you have your shield to guard with, which can be useful in a pinch. By holding R2, you'll raise your shield to block any incoming attacks. This is a valuable way to mitigate damage when evading isn't an option, but keep in mind you must be facing the direction of the incoming hit, so if you're hit from behind you will still take damage. Some of the more powerful monsters' attacks cannot be blocked at all though, so be sure to not get caught out. Note that in your guard stance, you can perform a guard slash by pressing R2 and circle, which will do a quick, low damage slash that keeps your shield raised while attacking. It does however have a unique property. If a monster hits your shield while you perform this move, it triggers a perfect guard, creating openings for powerful counterattacks. If you need to reposition while staying aggressive, sliding swipe is one of your greatest tools. By pressing R2 and triangle, you'll perform a quick evasive slash, sliding along the ground before attacking again. This move is slower but covers more distance than advancing slash, and even has iframes on the start of it, making it very useful to keep up aggression even through attacks or if the monster moves. Another technique available from guarding is your Rising Slash, which can be done by pressing R2, triangle and circle all at the same time. This is a quick upward slash that acts as a sort of bridge between your combos, letting you keep up pressure by eliminating what would otherwise be downtime. This move can be used after an evade or a charged chop, resetting your combo chain and keeping you in the fight. One of the Sword and Shield's more unique features though, is its ability to use items while unsheathed. By pressing R2 and square, you can use the currently selected item in your item bar without actually putting your weapon away. This makes the Sword and Shield the fastest weapon when it comes to using items, letting you quickly heal, buff or support yourself or teammates in the middle of a hunt. Moving on from here though, let's talk about the Backhop. By holding back on the left stick and pressing circle, your hunter will hop backwards, leading into multiple different follow-ups. What's nice about this is that you can gain iframes while doing it, meaning you can use this move to actually evade before following up with a counter attack. You can backhop after most attacks, while guarding, or even after a dodge roll, and while using focus mode. From here you have several options. Holding back on the left stick will transition you into Rising Slash, a quick stationary attack that flows into your standard combos. Continuing to hold down the left stick and pressing circle allows you to chain backhops after each Rising Slash, which can be helpful when you need to get more distance. Pressing circle or letting go of inputs completely will perform your Advancing Slash, quickly bringing you back towards the monster for your counter attack. Holding circle though will delay your Advancing Slash, and if held for long enough it will transform into the Charge Slash, and you'll know when this happens when the flame runs down the blade. This move has your hunter jump forwards, strike the monster while performing a scaling slash, letting you leap into the air, making it an excellent tool for dealing with hard to reach spots like wings or the monster's back. From here you have a few aerial options that we'll quickly go over. Pressing triangle gives you a jumping slash, your basic aerial attack that's good for building up mount damage. Circle gives you the falling bash, a powerful shield attack that slams you towards the ground, dealing blunt damage, making this a great tool if you're trying to build up a knockout. Triangle and circle together will perform a Plunging Thrust, a multi-hit diving attack that is great for breaking wounds and parts that are high up. Finally, holding L2 and pressing R1 will give you your Focus Strike that we'll talk about in its own section. Pressing triangle as your hunter's feet touches the ground though will perform a Leaping Slash. This is a wide sweeping attack, which more importantly leads into your Perfect Rush combo. Now let's talk about Perfect Rush. This is one of the Sword and Shield's hardest hitting attack sequences, but does require precise timing to unleash its full potential. Pressing triangle after a Leaping Slash will begin your Perfect Rush. As you perform the combo, you'll notice red flames flashing on your weapon. This is your cue to press triangle again, which if timed correctly will do a much stronger version of the move. There are 3 input timings to get right, and mistiming the inputs will result in much weaker attacks. After landing the final hit of your Perfect Rush combo, you will perform an empowered scaling slash that has multi-hit properties on top of launching you into the air. You can then follow this up with any of your aerial options we mentioned before, or alternatively you can transition into a Spinning Reaper, Charged Chop, or simple evade for going the 3rd hit. This can be good if you don't have enough time to pull off the full combo. But note, using Charged Chop here will give you the empowered version. Perfect Rush is certainly powerful, but it does take a ton of time to pull off. The most damaging part comes at the end of the combo, so make sure to only use this if you have the sufficient opening. Your Focus Strike is Vital Stab, a quick, powerful stab that can be used to exploit wounds. While in focus mode, pressing R1 will perform the move, and if you hit a wound, you will immediately attach to the monster. From here you have two options. The first is to press triangle to end this with a Falling Slash. This is a multi-hit move that can deal a ton of damage, while breaking the wound in the process. Alternatively, you can press circle to do an upwards bash, which has you uppercut the monster with your shield, dealing blunt damage, which means it can KO, and from here you can use some of your potent aerial options. This includes going into a jumping slash, falling bash, or plunging thrust. Falling bash is particularly great to complement your upswing bash when used on the monster's head to quickly build up KO damage as well. On top of it being used to pop wounds, the Sword and Shield's Focus Strike has a unique property that no other Focus Strike seems to have. When you use it against a forming wound, you will do a much more powerful multi-hit stab that's reminiscent of the Drill Slash in the past. This does a heavy amount of damage on top of opening the wound fully. On top of all of this, your Focus Strike can even be used mid-air, letting you take advantage of any wounds that would be out of reach while on the ground. Bear in mind that you can't use it after your follow-up upswing bash, meaning you can't juggle between wounds without touching the ground first. Before we get into some more advanced concepts, let's take a quick look at the rest of the aerial moves available to the Sword and Shield. We've already covered the Jumping Slash, which can be performed by pressing triangle basically anytime you're in the air. As mentioned, this is your basic move for building up mount damage, so be sure to use that when needed. But your Plunging Thrust is done with triangle and circle, which is a multi-hit dive attack that's great for breaking parts and wounds. Interestingly, your gap closers like Advancing Slash and Sliding Swipe automatically turn into aerial moves when used in specific terrain-based scenarios, allowing for extra mobility and aerial attacks. When performed towards a ledge, both will transition into a Jumping Rising Slash, launching you into the air with an upward slicing motion. When used off of a ledge, they instead become the Jumping Advancing Slash, sending you forwards through the air while attacking. This version is great to give you some extra range if the monster is too far away from the ledge. If performed on a slope though, you'll enter a Sliding Slash, and from here you gain access to both the Jumping Rising Slash on circle and the Jumping Advancing Slash on triangle. And finally, when aimed at a climbable wall, your hunter will run up the wall before automatically transitioning into a Plunging Thrust. So mastering these terrain interactions will add an extra layer of mobility and creativity to your Sword and Shield gameplay, allowing you to make the most out of the environment. Your Seikret can also be used effectively in combat, giving you access to some extra options. While riding, pressing triangle will cause you to do a slice twice, allowing you to attack while chasing down a monster. Pressing triangle while you're close to a monster's side though, will cause you to do a special attack, holding out your sword and running it through them. This has an active hitbox and it hits multiple times, allowing for surprisingly good damage, so it can be a great option when the monster is fleeing. Pressing X will cause you to leap off your Seikret, at which point you can press triangle for a follow-up jumping slash. Pressing triangle or circle while mounted though, will perform your dismount attack, which is an aerial round slash that can be followed up with a scaling slash by pressing triangle once you connect with a monster. This then lets you flow into any of our previously mentioned aerial options. Before we get into the combos though, let's go over some other key concepts that we've mentioned so far. We will start with perfect guarding. This is a higher skill defensive option that rewards precisely timing your guard. To trigger a perfect guard, you must block an incoming attack at the last possible moment by pressing R2 just before the impact. If done correctly, your shield will flash white and you'll dramatically lower the knockback and incoming damage. Following a perfect guard, you have multiple counterattack options available to you. You can quickly follow up with a round slash or charge chop, although this will be their weaker base version. Alternatively, you can press triangle to perform a counter slash, a high damage move that flows directly into your bread and butter combos, and this is usually going to be your best choice. But what makes perfect guarding unique on the Sword and Shield is its directional movement option. Immediately after a successful perfect guard, you can step left, right, or backwards by holding a direction on the left stick. This allows for better repositioning for your follow-up attack. So mastering the perfect guard mechanic is key to staying safe while being offensive, turning those incoming attacks into opportunities for counterattacks. It's good to know that landing multiple blocks on a monster will eventually trigger a power clash, a new mechanic to Monster Hunter Wilds. This is a sort of tug-of-war minigame where you have to mash triangle to overpower the monster. If you do it successfully, the monster will be staggered briefly, creating an opening for you to attack. The most notable thing here is that you gain immediate access to both the Spinning Reaper and Empowered Charged Chop. However, one thing to keep in mind is the monster's positioning, as some monsters may stagger out of range for the Spinning Reaper or the Charged Chop, making it kind of hard to land. So in these cases, just be ready to adjust your follow-up accordingly. Now let's take a look at some recommended combos to try. First, we have your Sustained DPS combo. For the most part, this will be your free-flowing damage option that you will want to use to keep damage on the monster with as little downtime as possible. Pressing circle twice for the first 2 attacks will do your Lateral Slash combo. Then follow this up with triangle and circle for a Roundslash, which then allows you to immediately loop back into this combo with no downtime or end lag so you can stay aggressive. The main takeaway for this combo, however, is that it's incredibly flexible depending on what you need. You can seamlessly flow into any of your defensive and utility options as you need them, and you can even use triangle instead should you need to adjust your positioning slightly. The key strategy is not using the final hit of your basic combo strings, as this will change Roundslash into Spinning Reaper, which cannot be cancelled out of as easily. And next we have your full Lateral Slash combo, which is ideal to use during bigger openings like monster topples to squeeze out as much damage as possible. Press circle 3 times to perform the Lateral Slash combo, and immediately follow up with triangle and circle for your Spinning Reaper. Once the Spinning Reaper lands, hold triangle and circle to charge up an empowered Charged Chop. You can then follow this up with the appropriate move for your situation, which might be repositioning with a sliding swipe, or preparing to deal with an incoming attack with a Backhop or Guard Slash. For hunters looking to capitalize on their KO potential, this next combo will be a key part of your toolkit. Start with a left stick forwards and circle 3 times to do your standard Shield Basher combo, with each hit dealing stun damage when you target the monster's head. From here, press R2 and circle to do a Guard Slash, to cancel the hard bash end lag, letting you immediately reset back into your shield attack to rinse and repeat. While this combo is less damaging than some others, its ability to quickly build up stun is invaluable for KO-focused playstyles, which will then give you even bigger openings to put out a lot more damage. Now let's take a look at some of the skills that will help you get the most out of the Sword and Shield. For offense, Burst is a great option for raw damage, as you're able to keep a fairly active uptime on your attacks due to the fast-hitting nature of the Sword and Shield. Even just 1 point in Burst will give you good mileage. Offensive Guard will give you a fairly hefty attack bonus for a short time after a perfect guard, making it a great option for benefiting the Sword and Shield's quick counterattacks. Maximum Might gives you up to 30% affinity as long as your stamina is full, and the buff will still persist for a few seconds after using stamina, meaning you can have pretty good uptime on this buff on a low stamina usage weapon such as the Sword and Shield. Staple affinity-based skills like Critical Eye, Critical Boost, and Weakness Exploit have been slightly nerfed but are still very nice to have if you can fit them in. On the defensive and utility side, you can consider bringing skills like Wide Range. This helps facilitate a more support-based playstyle due to the fact that you can use items while keeping your weapon drawn. Guard and Guard Up can both help you capitalize on your blocking, with Guard reducing the knockback and stamina drain, while Guard Up reduces the damage taken and allows you to block some previously unblockable attacks. These are far and few between in the base game, so your mileage may vary. But sharpness management skills can be incredibly valuable to use, as the longer you maintain a higher sharpness level, the more damage you deal. There's many different sharpness skills to choose from, with options like Master's Touch and Razor Sharp being good all-around picks if you're unsure what to choose. Given the Sword and Shield's quick attacks, you'll find yourself running out of sharpness faster than other weapons, so these are great to consider for any build. Now that you know pretty much everything there is to know about the Sword and Shield's moveset, here are some final tips to help you master the weapon. Make sure you're taking advantage of your focus mode, and we don't mean to just use it for focus strikes. The Sword and Shield benefits massively from this new mechanic, and it makes the weapon feel even more agile than ever before. When you pair this with your repositioning moves like the added mobility from your chop combo, it allows you to use the weapon to run circles around monsters in the right hands. We also want to hammer home about how important some of the SNS's unique capabilities are. Using your focus mode to open a half-formed wound immediately is one of the best options available to you, as the wounding system is very powerful. This move does so much damage that you would frankly be missing out if you didn't take advantage of this feature. Making use of the Corrupted Mantle, which is unlocked later in the game, can be a great way to push your SNS play even further. After activating the Mantle by dealing consistent damage, you'll gain its benefits, which include 30% increased affinity and 10% boosted damage. But on top of that, it also adds additional hits to some of your attacks. Your chop combo, rising slash, counter slash, and advancing slash all benefit from this. There are many ways to make the most of this, however there is a nice simple rotation that is competitive for this. Triangle triangle for chop into side slash, and then circle circle for lateral slash and return stroke. Finally, we just want to encourage everyone to try out the different playstyles available to the Sword and Shield. You can build around doing amazing damage, whether it be raw or elemental, and even focus on KOs with your shield. Then you have the option to support your friends with status builds, or even wide range builds to provide buffs and heals. There's so many different ways to play this weapon that you are highly likely to find a playstyle that will click with you, so be sure to experiment. And of course, the hunt is a marathon and not a sprint. So take time, practice, and learn the weapon to get the most out of it, and I'll see you out on the field. Here at Arekkz Gaming, we're two friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 2-6.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.